Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to this wonderful session. And this time it is a different session. Why? Because we are fortunate to have with us one of our students who cleared his DELF B2 exam with flying colors. So we welcome Mr. Govindan Kutty. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Thank you, Mr. Jayavardhan, sir. Thank you very much. I'm lucky to be with you today, this evening. I have the privilege and pleasure to be with you. Thank you so
Th-
much for accepting me.
Thank you so much, sir. So we wanted to do this little video with Govindan sir so that he could share his experience about B2 training that he had with us for 40 hours as an intensive B2 learning, wherein we did the speaking part and the writing part. And of course, we touched a little bit upon the listening and the reading part as well. So largely, we are going to focus on what was his strategy, how he successfully made it for the B2 level. So that is what we're going to talk about in this video. So before starting, I would like to request you, sir, to present yourself a little bit so everyone who is interested in writing this B2 exam shortly gets inspired by you and gets to know as to who you are, how did you come up with this idea of writing a B2 exam. So a little bit about yourself, sir.
Sir, to introduce myself, my name is Govindan Kutty. I live in the beautiful city of Calicut in Kerala. And I am a retired senior manager. In fact, I retired from Air India as assistant general manager. Uh, Ilia des prima retraite. In 2014, I have retired. So after that, I'll tell you a bit of history. After retirement, the question comes, what next? So my family, like my wife and my daughter, told me that you should remain engaged. You should do something. So they suggested that I study French. I pursue my studies in French because they are aware of my adoration, my admiration, and my passion for French. Basically, why it developed, I'll just tell you very briefly, sir. Because 50% of the words in English are actually from French. This I learned when I studied for my graduation. The subject being English language and literature. So, for example, I don't have to elaborate, but for the example's sake, I would say certain words like bon appetit, bon voyage, RSVP you see normally on the invitation cards like répondez s'il vous plaît, à la carte, buffet, faux pas. Even
True.
in journalistic language, we come across a lot of French terms. Apart
Right,
from
sir.
this, I had my passion for French films, French fashion, haute couture, etc., the films, etc. So these things motivated me. And of course, while working at Bangalore, I had visited Alliance Francaise, the Bangalore, and seen films also, participated in their film shows, etc., etc. So this remained, I remained passionate about learning French. So that passion worked a lot more in sustaining my interest in pursuing my studies. Sir. That's how I
Right.
ended up learning, registering myself for A1 at Alliance Francaise Kochi. And then my study career in French started from there. And now I am here with a B2 diploma.
Absolutely. What a wonderful journey. And you were always surrounded by this French ambience. And I think that really kept you going ahead and taking up different levels in French. So I would like to know, sir, from you that what was your perception about DELF B2 exam? Were you ever intimidated by this exam even before writing it? How was it for you? And were you okay with it? Or you had a lot of apprehensions before writing it? So could you tell a little bit about this whole experience before writing the exam? How was it, and
Yes.
what was your, image of B2 exam?
Yeah, yes, sir. I would elaborate a little bit on that because A1, A2, and I had done B1 also. And before doing B1, I happened to, there was a chance meeting with the director, Alliance Française de Trivandrum, Monsieur Francois Grosjean. And he told me, he gave me a lure. He told me, once you complete your B1, I'm going to take you to France. So that was one part of it. But then, of course, I was doubtful about completing my B2 because B1 itself was a little bit tough. The story changes from A2. So
True.
B1, of course, the level B1. Then while doing B1, I used to listen to the comprehension de l'oral from the episodes from YouTube, and it appeared to me enormously. The volume was enormous, the length was enormous, and it was very difficult for me to comprehend, listen and comprehend. And then I looked at the books, and I looked at the passages, and I looked at the writing challenges, and I looked at the speaking challenges, and I thought, oh, this is a tough nut for me to crack. So that was my impression. But all the same, with full confidence and full enthusiasm, I joined the course, and then the journey has been quite smooth. And of course, I put in a lot of hard work, and I was lucky enough to come in contact with Shubh Language Academy and French House Jaipur, and with
Right.
Professor Jayavardhan Sir. So that was a turning point. That was a milestone in my pursuing the studies, actually.
Thank you so much, sir, for choosing us, because we exist because of the interest and the kind of faith people have towards us. So that is something that drives us towards helping everyone to achieve their goals. So if we really helped you, then it's our pleasure. And also, would like to quickly ask you, sir, what was the journey? Since you already mentioned that you got in touch with us through some known person, if you could just quickly elaborate on how did you find us, as in what was the common point that brought you in touch with us?
Yeah, I'll explain that, sir. During one of my interactions with my professor of B1, Mr. Karthik Anil Kumar, he happened to share a video presented by you, sir, a video of the expose, how to do an expose oral for B1 or B2. I think it was B2. I remember it was
Right.
B2. So
Yeah,
he
me too.
happened to share the details of your academy, sir, and he happened to share one sample video. I think it was live. I
Yes.
don't exactly remember. I think it was live, and I attended that video, and I was convinced that I have come to the right place. And to be very frank with you, sir, I am hitting upon or discovering a person of this amount of capability, this amount of knowledge in French, the ease and the professionalism and the structured manner in which you had presented the expose. Really, I was enamored by that, and I decided that this is the place for me, because let me be very frank and honest. Of course, there were professors impressed me, but in your case, it was so focused, so impressive, and it was presented in a very, very professional manner. And really, I decided that I will join for this 40-hour course. And you may remember kindly, sir, I had a discussion with you before that, and I
Right.
had expressed certain concerns of mine, like,
Yes.
I am a member of the Troisième Âge. I
I,
am a
I
senior
remember
citizen.
very clearly we had a discussion on that, that you were a little
Yeah,
apprehensive about would you be able to make it, or how would it be?
yeah, because it will be a mix of students. Some will be
Yes.
the college going, some will be the enthusiasts, the teaching enthusiasts, or the young crop, who are better equipped, better capable of expressing, fast
Right.
enough to pick up things. Then I was a bit hesitant, like, will I be able to mix with them, move with them? Then you rested my fears, like you said, no, absolutely no problem. We are here to help you, and you are paced up, you're paced down, and paced according to everybody's requirement. So that was one. I felt at home. I felt at ease. That is one of
Right.
the takeaways. Initially, I felt, and it was
Right.
throughout the teaching sessions for the 40
Right.
hours. Thank you, sir.
I think you have your set of experience, and that also plays a big role in cracking this exam. So that really, paved a path for you to really crack it in the right way. Quickly coming on to the fact that you joined Shubh Language Academy, then how was the journey, sir? If you could just speak a little bit about it, as to since you are talking about the kind of approach we try to deliver to you, a structured approach regarding writing section and the speaking section. So quickly, if you go throw some light on it as to how was your experience, and then accordingly, how you moved
Yes,
ahead
sir.
with that.
Yes, sir. To start with, you had clearly demarcated two areas, sir. your explanation was very precise and very convincing, that the speaking skill and the writing skill, that is the PO and PE, correct?
Right.
PO and
Flexibility,
PE.
flexibility.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Because you have helped us in finding a logic. Like, for example, the comprehension de l'oral and comprehension écrite is something different, which is within your control. Like, which you can't predict what will come and all that. That is a different area altogether, where you need to improve, where you can improve, where you need to improve is these two areas, because speaking is very important for B2 examination, and writing is also equally important for uh, the each are complementary and contributory, because once you improve your writing skills, you improve your speaking skills also. So
Absolutely.
we were helped in seeing the clear logic of this formula by you, sir. So that was a very, very focused approach. And then, of course, we have the, I would like to call it a surgical strike.
Right.
Allowed to use the phrase from the journalistic language. We have the parallels in our own mythology, Mahabharata, where the Guru Dronacharya asked Arjuna, "What do you see?" Then Arjuna's reply was very, very important. He said, "I see only the eye of the bird, nothing else. Not the bird, not the tree, not the leaves, not the branches, not the people around the tree," as the other disciples answered. But Arjuna said, what is to be hit, so that the eye of the bird. So this was your approach, sir, right from the beginning. So you kept on, I'm not able to fully recollect, but I'll try to do justice by recollecting what all tricks you taught us, how to approach the writing technique, how to practice the speech technique. For example, when you present your expose, you start with a structured manner. You are divided into 5 parties, like the introduction, anecdote, then the advantage, disadvantage, or the positive, negative, and then the conclusion. So that structure you have engraved in us, actually. You are repeatedly engraved in us. And you said, don't deviate from this structure. Do not deviate, because this is required for the exam. Because the examinator does not know what is the depth of your knowledge. It's not written on your forehead.
True.
You have to express. You have to make use of certain phrases. For example, les phrases introductives comme il y a, elle l'aurait, jadi, autrefois, because you always made it a point to insist on making a time travel. The time travel is very important. Initially, I didn't understand what is this time travel. Then I knew it's very crucial, critical, and relevant. And that has really done me good. And apart from this, we used to have practice sessions. As I used to always say, proof of the pudding is in the eating. So without waiting for it, begin it. So as soon as you come to the class, we had the opportunity to either read out our written material or to speak extempore. The subject is given. Initially, some time was given for preparation, but towards the end, we had subjects given then and there with 15 minutes, giving a simulation of the real exam atmosphere. So that also contributed, that removed the fear of facing the speaking test. For example, you are ready to jump into the fray. Because, unless you jump into the fray and then face it. So that became very handy for us, for me especially. I'm telling about my experience. It was very useful, and I believe the same was the case with others also, who have also done very well. And how to conclude, and then how to, use the mot de politesse, how to look at the eyes of the examiner or the interlocutor,
Yes.
And le sourire, the
Yeah.
smile, because the smile works wonders. Even though people do not understand fully, the power of smile is very, very important, sir. And you've been
Right.
always telling, put on a smile. The smile will do the job. I mean,
True.
smile
But
will
under,
smile
yeah,
will
that's
do the
true.
rest of the
Under
job.
a lot of pressure, still having a
Yeah.
smiling face, I think that adds like
Yeah,
the cherry
yeah.
on the cake.
And I don't know what it does to the brain. The smile brings out automatic self-confidence.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was my
Yes. You're right.
experience. So
Absolutely.
all these points were very, very valid. And then, of course, you had impressed upon, I mean, how to, even if you struggle with certain usages of words, you can find alternate way. You can circumvent.
Yes.
You can
Right. That's true.
rephrase it. You can
Yes.
rephrase it. And
Hmm.
those were the tricks and, I mean, astuces which you taught us. And you always said, like the casual way, like sometimes you struggle, sometimes you mumble for words, and that's all okay. You put
That's
us,
okay.
took us into confidence. Like, you said,
Yes.
that's all okay. You again
Right.
continue, pursue, of course, have a watch on your time, etc. So it was all, calibrated, focused approach given by you. I would say not only focused but highly calibrated
Uh-huh.
for the purpose is winning B2 examination. We don't have
Yeah,
any other
that's true.
purpose.
Hmm.
Winning, I mean, passing B2 examination with reasonably good
Right.
marks. So that was
True.
and you motivated us a lot, and then you travel with us. Like I could say, you sang with us, you sailed with us. So it was a wonderful experience, really, honestly, because I'm able to tell you so frankly this. I wanted to, because there was no other platform to express this. Now you're giving me a platform to express this, so I'm sharing
Right.
it with you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me, and I very vividly recall the late evening hours that we all spent together, and we were continuously doing the whole format of expose, the way you rightly said about the anecdote, and then introducing the theme, and then les avantages, les inconvénients. Then, of course, proposing les solutions, and then buckling it up by, coming back to the main question that we had raised at the very outset. So the whole thing, and of course, putting in the C clauses and subjunctive and idiomatic
Yeah.
expressions. So trying to embellish the whole thing. I knew it was very repetitive, but then for the examiner, it was going to be the first time. So I know that every time it was
Yeah.
like we are using the same clauses over and over again. We are trying to change them. We are trying to bring in, but in the end, as I was mentioning that stick to a certain pattern so that the pattern can be repeated in the exam, and we are totally into it. So I think that
Yeah.
you rightly
Here I
called
would
out.
like to, sorry, here I would like to add, I forgot about the connectors. The connectors
Right.
are very important because what I did was, before I forget, I will tell you.
Yes.
As soon as I got the brouillon sheet, I
Right.
started writing the connectors first. I
Uh-huh.
started writing, lest I may not forget, So
Right.
I put the connectors first so that, later on I will not forget the connectors. I can utilize them as
Yes.
and when I'm ready with my monologue. So
Right.
the connectors are very important. So you
Yes.
always touch upon using the connectors and then having a continuity, having a
True.
logical coherence. So
Right.
that will
Yeah.
help us a lot.
Yes, totally. I think it makes a whole, amalgamation of all the tools that we can take in the exam, and they help equally well in writing section as much as they do in the speaking section. So I think it's a win-win thing at both the ends. So we can beautifully put
Yes.
them, and we can discuss what we know. It's indeed a manifestation of what you have learned over the span of this whole journey. I wouldn't just stick it to 40 hours, but before that, whatever you have been learning all by yourself with other teachers, and then these 40 hours specifically dedicated to that manifestation, just a demonstration of everything that we know. So I think the one who
Yeah.
does it in the most beautiful way by a lot of practice, does a wonderful job at the day of exam as well. Also, I'd like
Yes.
to ask you, sir, this was in class, but what about beyond classes? How were you maintaining your consistency, your practice, your revision? Were there moments as well wherein you felt a little demotivated, or you thought, oh, it's tough, or you were always up in energy? How was it?
Sir, it is always very important to remain motivated. to remain passionate and to remain consistent. Very, very important. But then, being a family man, I had my own, distractions. Like I used to sometimes take leave. I used to send messages to you, and I used to be skipping certain classes. That's all normal because of the family constraints and family, urgencies, etc., etc. But then always, like you say, our revenue sur le booth. You should come back to the goal always.
Yes, absolutely.
Because basically, the logic for me was, first of all, I have invested money. Secondly, I have invested my time.
Yes.
And thirdly, I would not like to fail. So these were the three, guiding thoughts. Because money is important, time is also important, and you have spent time. And then you have a goal in mind. You cannot simply back out of it just because you felt a little demotivated or little uninterested, or you thought it was difficult, or you thought you may not be able to perform well. You may have apprehensions, but then it is for you to bring back your mind, sir, as you had trained us to the original concept. Like you used to, towards the end of the class, you used to say, after all, it's one more week. Put in extra hours. Like the exam is going to fall on 13th of December. Now it's already 1st of December. Remaining days at least, put in extra work, put in extra efforts. So whatever time, like they say, le temps mort, le temps mort, like free time. Like evening, maybe 5 to 6 when we don't do anything else. That time also use it for the good purpose. Need not be necessarily the text or the other formal thing. You can also have an exposure to outside material. Come TV or something like films or some books or Radio France, something else. Keep listening, keep yourself in touch and contact. So this was the technique which I used, and then of course the exam was my main focus, and I decided that I am not going to spend more time for a second chance. That I decided. So because that appears to be very reasonable for me. That appears to be very logical.
I think
that's how.
Yes. So I think very interestingly and very correctly you have said that the objective should be very clear. I mean, it's the way I was saying in the classes that if not you, then who else? If not this time, then when? And if not this way, then which way? So I think when we respond to these questions, you come out to be a winner. And the way you rightly say, it's an investment of time, money, energy, and especially we give a message to ourselves, I'm going to win it. I'm going to clear it in this score. I think this affirmation, this positive message that we give to ourselves, it stays with us during the exam, and that motivates us. And I think you have rightly put that energy in the right direction, and that has brought those wonderful, output for you. So great. It was a wonderful thought process that you had for yourself. Also, I would like to...
Tell me.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to ask you towards the end of this little interview that how would you suggest our learners who are doing their B2 right now, they're a little hesitant, they're apprehensive as to how to move ahead. If you have some tips or tricks that you could dash in for them, what should they do and how should they move ahead?
First of all, they should remain focused. First of all, they should remain focused. They have joined a course not just for the joke. See, I may appear to be a little old-fashioned, but then, I always used to tell in the class, like, I also teach students a little bit, a little bit of French and a little bit of airport management, etc. So the question of getting demotivated, question of getting uninterested is there everywhere. It's a normal phenomenon. It's everywhere, partially or fully, or sometimes to a certain extent, etc., etc. Differs. The degree differs. But then it is our duty to, motivate them also. So I used to say, won't you like to have six-pack muscles? I used to quote this example. I don't know, it was relatable to them. Then I said, you must have heard about Arnold Schwarzenegger, a celebrated actor and bodybuilder and all that. You think he made the six-pack muscles overnight? No. So every activity you want to win, every activity you want to excel in, you need to put sheer hard work. There is no substitute for hard work. And this same actor was given a question, like, asked a question, what is the secret of success in
Yes.
general? And he
Right.
said, it's very simple. Be the hardest working girl or boy in the class.
Right.
So that was so there is a lot of meaning in that. There is a lot of,
Yes.
so hard work has its own, results, its result
Yes.
making capability. Apart from that, you need to cultivate like the cheer inside you. See, like in one of our sessions, we have discussed at length le bonheur est en vous.
Yes.
Ultimately, once you pass the examination B2 successfully with good marks, or with reasonable marks, whatever, the amount of happiness you are going to derive from this is unmatched. Nobody else can give you that amount of happiness, because that has to be experienced by you. So think of that. Think of that.
Yes.
Like recently, I told a batch of students, like, I long time back, I hope I'm not taking extra time.
No, no, not at
Long
all.
back,
Not at all.
uh,
Yes.
I, being in Air India, we used to have our internal workshops and internal training classes. So
Right.
Hyderabad, I was attending a Pan India training session.
Mm-hmm.
So I happened to stand as number one in the class. So
Wow.
the director of the institution, he was going to announce. So my initials are PTG. PTG Kutty, PT Govindan Kutty. So he said
Right.
Peter Tango Gold Kutty. So he addressed me like that. Now, what I wanted to say is, even after so many years, maybe around 40 years, I'm still nurturing and nourishing and happy about that thought itself.
Yes.
Not that you should always become number one in the class, but then you would have succeeded. You would have
Yes.
had the experience of success. And
Right.
one more thing he told, which is very relevant. I do not know, because I'm not that fluent or familiar in Hindi. I believe there is a saying that "Khelo to sao dal ke khelo."
Uh-huh.
If you play it with 100. So that
Yes.
time I did not understand, he said. So this is what I tell, this is what I can share with you, sir.
Yes.
Put your the students should put their 100%.
100%. Absolutely.
Put their 100%. So
True.
that whether it is your interest, whether it is your happiness in pursuing the course, whether it is your enthusiasm, keep it live and put your
Yes.
100%. That is the
Absolutely.
secret.
Totally. I think so. You have very
That,
beautifully, said the crux of your whole learning, which goes with the word that hard work has no other substitute, and put your 100% into it, and of course the results are going to be positive. And to just finish up our little discussion, quickly, I'd like to ask you, sir, how do you see French now, since you have mastered it at B2 level? Do you approach it differently? You're more comfortable. You're not intimidated. So how do you see, or what's your take on
yes, sir.
approaching French
Uh,
now?
yes, sir. I'm continuing my association with friends in so many ways. Like I started reading a book, Une Vie,
Uh-huh.
par Guy Maupassant, and my comprehension become more clear and
Right.
precise.
Right.
And as they say, instead of finding out the meaning of each words,
Right.
by virtue of having immersed in French for the B2 level course, I am capable of understanding, having a comprehension global,
Right.
like a general understanding of the subject.
Yes.
So to that extent, I have improved myself, and I should also practice daily to retain that. Actually, I mean,
Yes.
not to forget the vocabulary, not to forget the forget the construction, grammar, etc., etc. I should stay in touch.
Yes.
So that
Absolutely.
way, I find a major difference after
Right.
completion of BT.
I think this is something that is beyond exams, sir, because the way you have trained yourself, you are able to read French newspapers, you're able to watch French television, and that is another important aspect of exams. We tend to just limit it to exam, but I think the whole training helps us to open ourselves to these kind of immersions as well, which we are able to do very easily, and we have to we are able to understand everything. I think that is the real fruit that we can get after having really worked intensively, what you rightly said. So thank you once again, sir, for joining us in this session and sharing your wonderful insights. We wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. And the Shubh Language Academy and the French House Jaipur is very thankful to you and is also proud of you that you were a student with us. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you very much, sir. Thank you indeed. Thank you for your individual contribution, and thank you for the academy's effort as a teamwork. And I always find that the Shubh Language Academy and the French House Jaipur are so dedicated, and so much of effort and time is put into the activity of coaching people, training people, grooming people in the field of language. So that is something admirable, sir.
Thank you so
Hats
much,
off
sir.
to you. Bravo and congratulations, sir, for continuing the good work. And I left out something I would add here.
Right,
Apart from the regular teaching, I have taken advantage of all your webinars. The webinars
right,
were a bonus takeaway.
right.
Sorry, I am putting it to the last actually,
No, no, no worries,
because
sir.
apart from the 40-hour class, I have attended at least about 10 to 15 webinars by you,
Right,
presented by you and anchored by you. And
right.
that has also contributed in having a direct experience with the native
Yes, sir.
Francais.
True.
And that has also put me at ease while
Right.
appearing for them.
Yes.
So, merci
Thank
beaucoup.
you so much, sir.
Thank you
I
very
think
much.
this is the whole scaffolding and the whole setup that we do to help students to really take their understanding and their competencies at a higher level. So if you made most of it, congratulations to you, sir, and thank you for that. And keep shining and keep flourishing. And once again, thank you and congratulations to you and all the viewers who are watching this video. If you are preparing for B2, please watch this video again, and you can also find some important tips and tricks that were shared by Mr. Govindan Kutty. And all the best to you, dear students who are preparing for DELF exams. And if at all you feel that you need our help, feel free to get in touch with us. With that, once again, thank you everyone for watching this video. And thank you, Govindan sir, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you, sir.
great
Thank you
day.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.